Welcome everybody to the Canuckleheads podcast. This is episode 39. Shout out to Cody Hudson. My name is Justin. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Wes. Let's talk Canucks, Wes. Game time, November 21st, 2022. Las Vegas at Vancouver. Thatcher Demko and Thompson start. Reverse retro jersey night. Ethan Bear was playing in his 200th career NHL game, so congratulations to Ethan Bear. The hand grenade pair was back for this one. In the first, the Canucks had a goal waved off due to an offside challenge, which was weird. I thought it was going to be a goaltender interference challenge, but it was offside either way. So
yeah.
And anytime the Toronto can take a goal away from the Canucks, it's going to happen.
Yep.
This was 0-0 after one. In the second period, we had a goal from Andrei Kuzmenko with a tap-in off an amazing backhand pass from Brock Besser as he drives to the net. Assist to Besser and Hughes. This was a nice play by Bess.
Seriously, beautiful pass.
The right-handed guy coming down on the left side and just kind of, backhand to Kuzmenko, who scores his goals from where Andrei Kuzmenko scores his goals.
Yep.
This was 2-1 Vegas after two. In the third, we had a goal from Bo Horvat. Goes low glove from the slot off a pass from JT Miller. Assist to Miller and Riley Stillman. Stillman's first point is a Canuck, so I guess he does some things okay when he's not in the defensive zone.
Yeah.
Then we had a goal from Luke Shen with a wrister that goes in off a Golden Knights. Great spin move by Quinn Hughes to keep the puck in at the blue line. And then just pass it over to Shen. Assist to Hughes and Lazar on this one. Then we had a goal from Elias Pettersson. Gets his own rebound after a shot from the slot. He wins the faceoff. Assist to Mikheyev and Kuzmenko on this one. Mikheyev feeds PD a one-timer from behind the net. Then Las Vegas gets a goal overturned after the puck went out of play, kind of. The slot in kind of the corner where the cameraman takes pictures, the puck hit the camera.
Yeah, like came around the glass and just sniped the camera.
Yeah, like popped the plastic piece that goes around the lens off and everything. So weird one there.
Yeah.
It was ruled out of play because the puck would have went out of play, I think. I'm not sure what the rules are with the camera and everything. But
Boudreau kind of explained it afterward. He said if the puck hits a foreign object that's not in play, it kills the play, essentially.
Okay. So that's what happened there. So the Canucks lose this one 5-4. This third period, this was a weird game. It was kind of not a whole lot going on the first two periods. And then the third period, it was the Canucks scored 3 goals, then Vegas scored 3 goals to take the lead back. This was not how you defend 101 between Vegas and Vancouver here.
Both teams just opened it up.
I said the Canucks were going to win 4-2. Wes said the Canucks were going to win 4-3, so we were both wrong there. Yeah. And then the next game we have here, November 23rd, 2022, Vancouver in Colorado. Spencer Martin and Francouz get the start here. Stillman was scratched for Kyle Burrows, thank God. In the first, we had a goal from Ilya Mikheyev, 21 seconds into the game. Kuzmenko throws a puck down behind the Avalanche net to Petey, who passes it to Mikheyev in front, who kind of whiffs on it a little bit. It's kind of a chip shot that just beats Francouz. He obviously probably wasn't set for this one yet because it was so quick.
Yeah.
This was 2-1 Colorado after one. Colorado scored 2 goals about halfway through the first. What's his name?
For which goals?
For Colorado, the guy who scored the 2 power play goals there.
Was it
Rantanen? Yes, Thank you. Scored 2 goals pretty quickly, and I thought that was kind of going to be the turning point where things would get away from the Canucks a little bit.
Yeah.
In the second, Connor Garland gets a goal disallowed due to goaltender interference. The Colorado defenseman pushed Garland into Francouz. Francouz pushed him out of the crease, got set, then the puck went in. Bad call.
That's what extremely bugged me about it, was Garland's way out of the crease by the time the puck even gets shot.
Yeah.
So how is that goaltender interference?
And there's no, Garland could have stopped. Garland's so small, man.
He got pushed.
I think it was Eric Johnson or somebody that pushed him. That's 6'3".
Yeah.
There's a massive size difference there. Garland, and he didn't even bump Francouz that much, right?
No.
And
by the time the shot got off, I could see it if the puck went in the net when that happened. It's there was a little bit of...
If it's during contact, yeah.
Exactly, but he's way out of the crease, then the puck goes in the net, and the goalie's he screened, no doubt about it, but there's no way that Garland interfered from him stopping that puck.
Yeah, and there's no rules about screening a goalie.
No.
It's fair game.
Yeah.
And this is something that I wish the NHL would work at a little bit. We were talking about the game here too. There's another play that comes up in the next game where the opposing team's defenseman will drive a forward into the goalie, then you get pissed off that the forward hit the goalie and then take a couple cheap shots and shit like that. Like this, there's got to be some common sense here, right? Like we said, Garland barely touches him and it's not of his free will. He gets pushed into him. There should be something where you look at that and be like, well, this is the Colorado player's fault.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, back to the game. Rant over. We had a goal from Bo Horvat, who tips in an Ethan Bear point shot. Assist to Miller and Bear. At this point, Bo Horvat was now tied for the NHL lead in goals, which is crazy. This guy just keeps scoring goals. Tied with some guy named Connor McDavid.
Yeah. I think you've heard of him before.
Yeah, and Jason Robertson from the Dallas Stars.
Which, crazy enough, Robertson's been on a 2-goal a game,
just a tear,
just a streak, and now he's at 18. So it's Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah. So this was 3-2 Avalanche after 2. I think that's wrong. I think that's supposed to be 3-2 Vancouver after 2. In the third, we had a goal from Sheldon Dries. Gets a rebound off an OEL point shot, just as the power play expires on this one. So assist to OEL and Besser. Besser just keep getting those points.
Yeah, just keeps racking them up.
Then we had a 4-on-4 goal by Ethan Bear. Rips a slap shot over Francouz's shoulder. Great play by Mikheyev to negate an icing and then screen the goalie. Assist to OEL and Dries on this one. So Mikheyev, outside of Bear taking the shot, the most important part of this goal, doesn't get a point, but just a great effort to win a foot race to beat out the icing and then screen Francouz so he can't see the puck.
Yep.
Then a fan threw a bag of candy at Petey. Don't do stuff like that.
Yeah, they're clearly frustrated, and it was a dumb move, but whatever.
Yeah, it hit him. It actually hit him.
Yeah.
And these guys are professional athletes, right? They're not out here to torment the fans. They're just doing their job as much as we can take it personally too and stuff, but. Don't do stuff like that to the players. Yeah. They don't deserve things like that.
Did you see the Toronto game where that happened?
Yeah.
They were throwing shit at them, man.
I don't agree with that, but 3 goals getting disallowed, I understand it, but still you shouldn't. Don't throw stuff at players.
Yeah, and that's kind of what Marner was saying after the game was if they were just throwing the shit on the ice, we wouldn't care. But when they're trying to hit you, it's different.
Yeah. And in that case too, that's the refs, right? Mm-hmm. I guess it's the Toronto War Room that reviews the goals, but it's not the players.
Yeah.
4-3 Canucks win. Predictions, I said Colorado was going to win 5-2. Wes said the Canucks were going to win 3-1. So both wrong there, but nice to get a win.
Yeah.
And we talked about how it could have been a bad week for the Canucks there. So to get one win at least is kind of okay.
Yeah.
Now we'll get to the game that just happened yesterday night there, November 26th, 2022. Vancouver at Vegas. Spencer Martin and Thompson start. This was the Vegas Knights were wearing their reverse retros. They look pretty good, actually.
Yeah, and I was just saying to Justin before we fired up the pod, I owe an apology because on the reverse retro jersey ranking that we did, I did not like that jersey at all on paper. When you see it on the computer, it doesn't look that great. On ice, it actually looked pretty good.
Yeah, the glow in the dark and everything too was pretty cool. No, go check that video out.
Yeah.
So in the first period, we had a power play goal from Brock Besser, who tips in an OEL point shot, assist to OEL and Garland. This was a nice play by OEL. He faked a slap shot and then kind of just kept skating in a little bit to create a shooting lane for himself, and then Besser tipping the puck in.
Yep, and Bess did say that every practice he's been staying late to work on his tips, and look, they're paying off.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Then we had a power play goal from JT Miller, who snipes one from his usual spot. Bo wins the faceoff, and the Canucks get set up. Assist to Kuzmenko and Hughes on this one. Good screen by Kuzmenko in front of the net, too. These were 2 power play goals, I think, in 16 seconds of power play time total. So quick strike power play from the Canucks.
And which just makes our power play feel so much more dangerous. It gives us a ton of confidence because sometimes that power play struggles, but right now we're riding high.
Yeah, it's big for them to win that initial face-off because sometimes they just have such a hard time getting set up.
And overcycling.
Yeah.
Overcycle way too many times, and now the guys are just shooting. They're ripping the pucks, and they go in the back of the net when you shoot the puck. Who would have known that?
And it's something we've talked about too since last year. OEL can get pucks on net.
Yeah, he can.
And it just a prime example of that. I think that power play was 6 seconds.
6 seconds, yeah.
So win a draw, OEL creates a lane for himself, puck on net.
Yep, and I think that's kind of why they swapped him and Quinn there, is just mix it up a little bit. I like how they put Bess on instead of Kuzmenko as well, and then look, you see it pay off.
Well, that was actually the second.
Oh, that was was the second one. Yeah.
Then in the second, so this was 2-0 Vancouver after 1.
Yeah.
In the second period, we had a power play goal from Petey with a classic Petey one-timer. His first power play goal of the year.
Yep.
We talked about how we haven't really seen the one-timer too much from Petey, but it's starting to show up a little bit more.
Yeah, he's a little too picky with the passes sometimes, which, like, I get it. You want it right in your wheelhouse, but I mean, sometimes you just got to let it go anyway. Yeah. You see Matthews, he does that. Yeah. The best scorers, they score no matter what.
Yeah. So assists to Hughes and Miller on this one. Originally, they had it Horvat and Miller.
Weird.
For whatever reason, just a little mistake there from whoever was keeping track.
Yep.
Then we had a goal from Andrei Kuzmenko from right in front of the nets. Niels Aman with a great backhand pass from behind the nets after a great play by Dakota Joshua to kind of keep the puck in the corner, and then he threw a backhand pass down to Aman.
Through the legs, right out in front of the net. Beautiful.
Yeah. Ben, we talked about this too before the podcast. Like, Aman and Joshua, there is something between those guys. Like, they're noticeable every game.
Yep.
Always, like, playing offensive hockey. Like, and they're both so good at controlling the puck down low. They're two big guys that
they're physical.
Yeah, and it's really fun to watch. We were talking about it too. It makes us miss the model line a little bit less, right?
Yeah.
Like this. I mean, really, I kind of only miss Mott, Lamoco, and Highmore. Like, we thank you for what you did, but I don't think either of those guys are in the NHL right now. So
and it's just nice to bring in 2 fresh guys and they just work right away.
Yeah,
like you don't always get that lucky. So we've found gold there.
Yeah. And then we had a goal from Beaufort William Skorvat with a one-timer from Miller. Hoglander steals a puck from Phil Kessel, I believe, as he's about to exit the zone. Throws a pass over to Bo, like a cross-ice pass, who feeds JT Miller, who's alone in front.
Mm-hmm.
Great, like, backhand, forehand move from Miller, and then feeds it back over to Horvat, who's got 3/4 of an empty net to hit. And the way Horvat's rolling, he's not missing that.
Yeah.
So this was 5-0 Vancouver after 2. In the third, we had a scrap. Connor Garland and Marchessault. This was kind of more of a wrestling match. Marchessault kind of takes down Garland, and Garland kind of trips Marchessault, and then they decide to drop the gloves. 2 guys that are the same height. So first career fight in the NHL for Connor Garland. So congrats to you.
Let's go, Garland.
He did get tossed from this game because his jersey wasn't tied down. So, but I mean, a guy like that's not expecting to drop the gloves. So.
No, and you don't always have an opponent your size in there. So
yeah, when you're like 5'8", it's pretty hard to find another guy. Then we had another fight, Dakota Joshua and Kolesar. A good fight, again, more of a wrestling match. No real bombs got thrown. Canucks win this one 5-1. The predictions, we both said Vegas was going to win 3-2. So, very good week for the Canucks. To get 4 points from Vegas and Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, you're kind of even with the Golden Knights because you won 1 and lost 1 to them. But still, like, win 2 in a row, get those points. And it was a big game from the Canucks, right? Like, we have trouble against the Golden Knights, especially in Vegas. So
which Vegas has been terrible at home this year. So maybe if the next time we meet, we could play in their barn again. That'd be great. We heard Bruce, there it is, chants in their home arena. Like, that's awesome for us.
The Golden Knights fans were definitely... It was a silent barn at the end of that second period.
Oh, I mean, when you're going in, what was it? I think it was 5-0 going into the third.
Yeah.
Like, you're demoralized. What are you going to do?
Especially in Vegas, too, right? You're looking like a good team. You're a contender. Yeah. So, but yeah, just it always feels like the Golden Knights whooped the Canucks. So to have this one felt good. Wes and I were texting about it during the game. Like, BX joked during the second intermission. He's like, I guarantee even the Canucks will not blow a 5-0 lead.
Yeah.
And then thank God they didn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Canucks go 2-1 this week. Big week. Beat the defending Stanley Cup champions. All the boys were rolling. It was a solid week from everybody.
Lots of points for all the right guys.
You swap Burroughs for Stillman and you win 2 games. Look at that. When the puck isn't going up the middle from behind your goalie.
Yeah. Well, and one thing I wanted to talk about too is that we got to see Rathbone get a crack here at some point. Like, I get it. Like, Burroughs has looked pretty good, but like, I'd like to see Rathbone get tossed in a game here. Just put him and Myers on the third pairing.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah. But yeah, that is a good point you bring up about Rathbone and Podkolzin and Hoglander, right? Like, I feel like 2 of those guys should go to the AHL. Not as a demotion, just to get some games, because it's always like either Pods or Hogs is scratched, and Rathbone just doesn't get to play games.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I get it, you're in the NHL, you're practicing with NHL players, but play some games, right?
Yeah.
Like, send Rathbone to the A, he'll be the number one D-man there, right?
Yeah.
Run the power play, all that stuff. At least he's playing.
Instead of not playing him. Yeah.
Same thing with one of Pods or Hoglander, right?
I think right now it's Pods because Hogs is playing on the first line. He looked great against Vegas.
He's been making defensive plays too, which is an evolution of his game. But yeah, like, two of those guys need to just get lots of ice time.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not an emotion.
No.
Just let them play. Like, tell them that. Be like, hey, we're not sending you here because you're not good enough. You just need reps
and confidence for Pods.
Yeah.
He's not shooting the puck as much as he was, but he's always physical. He always plays a tough game. He's always hard to play against, but he just needs to get that goal scoring confidence back, and he'll rip it up in the AHL.
Yeah, like all three of those guys, you send them to the AHL, they're a top line player. But yeah, just a good point that you brought up there, and I do agree with. So let's go over some notes here. So November 20th, 2022, the Canuckleheads podcast cracks 1,000 downloads.
That's crazy.
It's pretty cool. When we started this, neither of us really had expectations. No. It was more just because we love talking about the Canucks.
Because we want to do it.
Yeah, and so to like, I don't know, people are listening.
Yeah,
like,
it's cool.
And I kind of checked the heat map from where the downloads are. It's all over the world, which is weird. Like, just
it is weird.
Two dudes from middle of nowhere, Saskatchewan. Like, people are listening to us from like Australia and stuff like that. It's crazy. Yeah. So thank you to everyone who's listened and downloaded.
Shout out to you. Very
cool and very much appreciated. On to some kind of sad news. November 24th, 2022, Boreas Salming passed away from ALS. This was very shocking because we just saw him last weekend.
And that started to make me think maybe that's why they were doing that, because they knew it was getting bad. It did not look good when he was out on the ice. Obviously, everyone could see that, and it was emotional, but super sad news.
Yeah, and like for a player I never really watched or anything, it did kind of impact me a little bit. Like, I felt really bad about this because it was so quick. Like, and he, like, we talked about it last episode, like, such an important player for European players, like, to start that process coming over, right? Like, if he doesn't come over, maybe you don't see Nicholas Lidstrom or Matt Sundin or the Sedins, you know, like...
He probably paved the way for those guys, you know what I mean? It made them think, oh, it's possible. We have guys making it. I can make it too, so...
So, yeah, just sad news there to the Salming family, you know, our condolences, and, you know, we hope it's an easiest time possible for you guys moving forward from here. And, yeah, just rest in peace to an absolute legend.
Yep.
Again, more kind of sad news here. Dakota Joshua's brother, Jagger Joshua, plays in the NCAA for Michigan. Had a player repeatedly use racial slurs against him, and I have a picture here. So let's see. Ohio State Athletic Director Gene Smith announced men's hockey player Camille Sadlosha is returning home and will not practice or compete at this time. That's the player that used the racial slurs towards Jagger Joshua. And yeah, Dakota Joshua talked about this and like how it sucks, right? Yeah. But it just seems like it keeps happening.
There's guys like PK Subban, they've dealt with it for a long, long time.
Yeah. And, you know, it is being talked about more and brought to the limelight more, which is good, but it still sucks. Anytime you hear this, like...
Yeah, Wayne Simmons has talked about it.
Yeah, it's horrible. Like, emotions run high in hockey and stuff, but you should never bring race into it.
Yeah, you're a piece of you-know-what if you do that.
Like, you can definitely chirp somebody and stuff, but never bring, like, race or anything like that. That's just uncalled for. It's classless, unprofessional.
And if you do that, I hope you run into a guy like Ryan Reeves or like Wayne Simmons that will knock your lights out.
Yeah. So, you never want to see something like that. And, you know, hopefully he's still talking about it. Just hopefully it makes a difference and we see that this is eliminated from all sports, not just hockey.
Yeah,
all sports.
You don't deserve to play if you're like that. Playing hockey is a privilege.
Yeah.
And if you act like that, you don't deserve that privilege. Even PK Subban's little brother ran into the same incident where that guy was the monkey comments or whatever. That shit is not allowed.
Just a couple kind of heavier things that we had to talk about here, which, it sucks to...
Got to address it.
Yeah, but you got to talk about it because it's the only way it's going to get eliminated.
Yeah.
Let's go over the score predictions for next week here, Wes. So the Canucks play San Jose tonight, November 27th in San Jose. Second game of back-to-backs. Thatcher Demko's probably going to get the start here.
Yeah, which I think this is a good game for him to start because you see a lot of Erik Karlsson highlights, but not a lot of other Shark highlights. So he's kind of lighting it up, not so low-key, but the rest of the team I don't think is doing amazing, so that's good for us.
And this was something that the guys on the panel on Hockey Night kind of talked about too, right? Kind of giving Demko the softballs because Martin's rolling right now. He's bought you some time to get Demko rolling.
Let your confident guy go.
The Sharks aren't a contender. They're not a great team. Sorry, Sharks fans. Just is what it is.
Yeah.
But so let Demko play this one. It does kind of suck because it's back-to-backs. And from what I hear, San Jose is actually kind of a tricky area to fly into because they lock it down at a certain point. So no planes can land after a certain time. So you might have to go to San Francisco and bus in or something like that. So, but what do you think the score is going to be in this one, Wes?
Well, we just beat Vegas 5-1. We're absolutely rolling on a high right now. I think we wash them up. 4-2 win for the Vancouver Canucks.
I'm going to say 4-3 for the Canucks.
Yeah, Thatcher lets some past them right now, so it's one of those things. It could be like that.
I think it'll be a good first two periods, and the third will get a little hairy, but
we'll come out with the dub. Yeah.
Then November 29th, Washington in Vancouver. So Ovi coming to visit. This will be a tough one.
And they just lost too.
Yeah. I'm going to say this is a 3-2 Canucks win.
I like that prediction. It's pretty good. Let's hope Spencer Martin gets a start in this one. And who knows? Maybe Thatcher plays lights out in San Jose and they give him the next game as well. But if Spencer plays, all we catch is dubs, baby. So we're going, and we've been in high-scoring games. So I'm done predicting the real low ones. I want some W's. So let's go. We'll just throw a crazy one in there. 5-3 for the Vancouver Canucks.
I could see it. Then, December 1st, Florida in the house. That's going to be a tough one.
That's going to be a tough game. Kachuk's just out there running his mouth, doing his thing.
Barkov is just an absolute amazing player.
Yep.
What do you think the score is going to be in this one here, Wes?
It's going to be a tough one. We can't win them all, boys, can we? But I hope we do catch the dub here as well. And it's funny enough, too, that Bennett there, he looks way better on Florida than he did with Calgary as well. He's been lighting it up. It's a tough one. 3-2 Vancouver Canucks. It's going to be close.
I'm going to say that this is 6-4 for Florida.
Whew. I like those. You got to throw those predictions in there because
I think this is going to be an offensive game here.
Yeah.
Florida scores a lot of goals.
They do.
A solid team.
Last year they put up like 5-6 goal games.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Saturday, December 3rd. I can't believe we're in December already this week.
Yeah, that's fine.
Arizona in Vancouver. I'm going to say that this is 5-2 Vancouver.
Who are they playing, sorry? I missed
the Coyotes.
You're done. It's off with your heads, Yotes.
The first one of the year.
You're out
I've
of
been
here.
waiting for this.
I haven't been confident enough to been letting it roll. I'm on 100%, man. It has to keep going. Yeah. And I'm not just always going to pick weak teams. You've seen it last season. I've off with your heads a couple good teams, we steamed them. So it's a 4-1 or maybe a 4-2 for the Vancouver Canucks. We'll go 4-1.
4-1? All right, There we go. What we talked about again last week, like, that's a tough stretch of games.
Yeah.
So to get in that first week out of the 3 games, 2 wins, that's a good start. You got to keep it rolling. If you get the win against San Jose on back-to-backs, that's just, like, gravy to me, right? Like, that's a bit of a trap game because back-to-back, you play a tough game against Vegas. Like, hopefully the Sharks aren't going.
Yeah.
And, like Washington, Florida, those are 2 tough ones, especially Florida. But they got a good start, and that's you can't have a good road trip or like a good couple weeks without starting good. So.
Yeah, and you don't beat 2 of the best teams in the league and then go into San Jose and lose a game because of an excuse.
You could if you're the Canucks.
I don't want them to. I want them to stay strong here, especially because that wasn't the roughest game ever. Vegas looked off all night long.
Vegas did look off. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. We didn't get bruised up really, besides maybe Garland has a scratch on his cheek from the claws of Marchessault there. But other than that, I think we're pretty healthy and we're ready to come into this game and put on a performance once again.
Yeah, so hopefully it's another good week here. As it stands right now, the Canucks are 3 points out of a playoff spot. They always use American Thanksgiving as kind of like the benchmark for if you're in the playoffs. You basically have like a 75% chance of locking it down. But we'll see what happens. You never know.
And we need these wins, baby, so let's get them.
Kind of the nice thing after the San Jose game tonight, it's some Eastern Conference teams again, right? So you don't want to lose them, but if you do, at least you're not losing to a Western Conference team, and then it's like a 4-point game. So, but yeah, it should be a good week. 4 games this week, which is always nice. And lucky enough for me, my Steelers play on Monday, so I get to catch every game. Let's talk about our Canucks of the week here. It's a tough one because there was a lot of good performances.
So many. I'm really torn between 2 players.
I kind of got a lot that I'm torn between.
Well, there's 3 top contenders in my opinion. But yeah.
For me, I'm gonna go with Spencer Martin.
I like that. He's one of my top 3.
Yeah. He, like, against Vegas last night, he was... So it's always a bit of an adventure because he does kind of get, like, swimming a little bit sometimes.
But the way he challenges is his...
Yes, I loved it. Yeah. He was so aggressive. Yeah. Gave the Golden Knights nothing. The only goal that beat him was a weird bounce off the back of the glass.
If you've ever watched Barstool Sports shootout contest, Dave Portnoy, he jumps in the net, he puts on the street hockey pads, he lets guys like Taylor Hall... These NHL players come in and take shots on him, and that's all he does. He comes out like 6-7 feet from the net and just
super aggressive.
Oh yeah, and then you can't do anything. Yeah. And that's kind of Spencer Martin's approach here. He's being super aggressive, not giving you much to shoot at. And obviously, when you do that, you can get made look silly if they pull one toe drag and they're way past you. You know what I mean? But he's doing it the right way. He looks great. He's my top 2. Yeah, I was torn between them, but since you gave it to him, I'm not giving him to him now. Going with us. I'm happy that you gave it to Spencer Martin. I'm torn between Elias Pettersson and Bo Horvat. Yeah. But I'm giving it to Petey. The way this guy kills penalties, the way he just picks off passes and reads plays so well, because he's on the power play.
And this is something that we texted about last night. Like, Petey looks like one of the best penalty killers in the league already. Yep. Wes was saying it's like every penalty kill, it's like he gets a breakaway or a scoring chance. And it's true. Like, it's just, he's so good at reading plays and picking off passes. He's like Tyler Mott, but if Tyler Mott was a first-line player, no offense to Mott.
It's funny, too, because you don't have much percentage on scoring those because the goalie can come out and challenge you so much because he's got how many players backing him up as soon as you rip that shot. But at least he's pushing the puck into their end, threatening them, breaking up the, momentum of the other team. He's just been great for us.
Like he's killing power play time.
Playing against Colorado, beating Nathan McKinnon on the faceoff multiple times. He's finally winning those draws like I wanted him to. He's been amazing.
And I can't remember if it was the panel or just the announcers last night too, but somebody mentioned like Selke votes for Petey. And I could totally see it. The last 3 weeks, it seems like he's been a monster at both ends of the ice. Like he's not just putting up points. He's stopping high danger scoring chances too. He's picking off pucks. He's stealing pucks. He's making great passes.
He's becoming our best defender and our most offensive player at the same time. It's ridiculous.
This is, again, I texted this to Wes last night. Like, Petey is doing what JT Miller said he wanted to do in the offseason. He's becoming like a Ryan Kessler type player, just way more offensive. And Kess was a good offensive player too.
And obviously, Kess was more gritty and you know what I mean? But Petey is that type of player, 200-foot game, and he's making it look amazing.
Yeah. And Petey isn't like what you think like traditional tough. Yeah. He's like Swedish tough, which is not an insult. It's like the Sedins, right? Yep. Where, no, they're not going to throw like bone-breaking hits, but they're going to be in front of the net. They're going to be taking punishment. They're going to be setting up plays, cross-check 24/7.
Exactly. They're not going to be running their mouth. They're going to do the talking on the ice.
Yeah, he'll let his play talk for him. And like I could absolutely see a Selke trophy for Petey. Like he's just been so good, and we talked about it at the start of the year. Like we said, like this was going to be the year Petey announces himself to the NHL. And he's doing it. Yep. Like I think he's at 25 points, 11 goals.
the struggles he had last year were a blessing in disguise for him.
Yeah,
because look at his defensive game now.
He's learned big time from that. And this guy is like, I don't want to say single-handedly because it's been a pretty good team effort, but like he's our engine.
He is. And like OEL, rip that frickin' A off his sweater right onto Petey's. Or I should say, boom, right onto Petey's sweater because holy cow, man, he's driving the bus and like OEL, he's looked better as of late. He's been getting some deflection tips and stuff like that, putting the puck in the right spot. But and with Bear, he's been way better. Yeah. But I mean, Jesus, can we get Petey an A on his sweater, boy? Because he drives the bus sometimes. Like, wow.
Yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned Ethan Bear because I wanted to talk about him too. Yeah. I believe he's played 11 games with the Canucks now, maybe 12. His 12th game was last night, but really starting to fit in. Like they mentioned this on the panel too, like just some of the plays he's making, some of the reads he's making. He's made OEL look better. Yep. They're both putting up points. I believe OEL has 3 points in his last 2 games. Yep. Bear had a goal and an assist this week. Like, yep. It seems like this second pairing is really starting to stabilize, and they're playing really good hockey. I really enjoy watching Ethan Bear play. Yep. I'm also really glad to have like an Aboriginal player on the team. It's just kind of cool. Like Wes and I are both Métis, so to have like one of those guys on the team is nice because I don't know. I don't remember the last time the Canucks have had like a player of Aboriginal descent. So just one
really
thing that's cool.
Especially with all the Aboriginal stuff they've been doing as of late.
Yeah.
So it's really, really awesome.
Yeah, and he's just played good.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about Sheldon Dries, who looks like he's turning into an NHLer. We said this last year, I think, when we kind of gave players grades, that we both really like Sheldon Dries' game.
He wins face-offs. Now he's becoming like smarter in the O zone. Yeah. He's always kind of good defensively. It's just in the O zone, he's looking more dangerous.
Yeah, like playing with 2 legitimate NHL wingers.
Yep, getting assists, got a goal.
I think what we say he was like Bo Horvat light. It kind of looks like it. Like he's really starting to fit in.
Yep. Poor man's Bo Horvat.
Yeah, it's just kind of another one of those players that makes it hard to find a spot for like a Hogs or Pods or somebody who's kind of on the bubble like that. Yep. But depth is not a bad thing to have.
Nope. And that's why I really like now that they have the Dries, Garland, and Besser line, because it just makes us so much deeper.
Yeah.
You have a guy that can win draws. You got 2 great wingers there. Just get the hand grenade pairing out of here. Myers and Stillman is not a thing.
No.
Please don't bring that back because all the hard work that our 2 other pairings are doing is getting completely demolished when those 2 step on the ice.
Yeah.
And then it kind of demoralizes you as a group. Just don't do it.
And it's really now started to solidify everything, right? Like that PD line with Mikheyev and Kuzmenko, the Bo Miller, Garland or Hoglander line.
Joshua Amond. Like you cannot split those 2 up.
That's been a great line. The third line looks like it's starting to find some chemistry too. Our D pairings look solid. Yep. Please don't take Kyle Burrows out of the lineup.
Yeah.
Please.
And if you do, it's for Rathbone.
Yes. No more Stillman.
No.
Unless we lost like 3 left side defensemen. No more Stillman.
If we have some injuries, I get it, but no.
But yeah, and Hoglander we should talk about too. I really am starting to see like, yes, there's always going to be like that odd defensive mistake. And when it's a guy who's been called out for defensive issues, it stands out a little bit more, right? Yeah. Because you're like, here he goes again. But I feel like he's improved his game. He's been... Yes. I've really noticed him at the blue line defensively. He's good at like just poking pucks out or like stealing possession and getting like having to reset the offensive team. You know what I mean? And like he just continues to evolve. Yes, he's not scoring at like the clip he was during his rookie season, but that was such a weird year, the COVID year. I've talked about this before. Like that was not really a rookie season.
No, and it's funny too. Like with him on the first line, he's not the goal scorer on that line. All his job is to do is play along the boards, win the battles, and get it out to the goal scorers.
And he did an amazing job last night, like picking off that puck to set
up that
goal. Like that's all Hoglander.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get that puck out, like who knows what happens? But
he doesn't do all that gritty work to get that puck, we don't get that goal.
But yeah, and I kind of hope it's something that Bruce sees and maybe starts to trust him a little bit more. Like, no, he's not going to be out there in the last minute of a 1-goal lead or anything like that. Yeah. But let the kid play.
Yeah.
He's absolutely like a valuable player to this team, and you have to let him work through his mistakes, right?
Yeah. There's some guys I watch, man, and I get mad with their lack of physicality. Hogs, I never see that
Yeah.
out of him. He tries 110% every time his skates touch the ice, and that's why I love this kid.
And even then, he's not the biggest guy too, but he's got that Swedish toughness.
Yeah,
you know?
He'll throw those hits on anybody. He's not scared of nobody out there.
Yeah, so and OEL's been playing pretty good too lately, which we've talked about. So it's nice to see that, right? Like that's a big contract.
Yep.
Every point you get kind of makes it look a little bit better, which is still, unless OEL puts up like a 90-point season, we're not going to see that as a value contract. But it is what it is there, and he's on the team, and we hope he does good. Like he's a good leader, and yeah.
Which, that's the thing, you can be a leader without the A on your jersey. I'm just saying it right now.
You
like
got such a...
Petey, man.
Leave the man alone once.
Give it to Petey.
Leave OEL alone.
Petey deserves it. I know. He worked hard for it. He's been in the league a long time. I get it. And, like, seniority always rules for the letters, and I get that, except for Bo. He's kind of the exception, young captain, blah, blah, blah. But
well, and one of the things, too, right, like, most teams are pretty slow to make changes like this. Like, you rarely see a mid-season letter change, unless there's a trade or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
which like Winnipeg, I think it was at the start of the season this year.
The off season, I think, is when
Wheeler got stripped. But it's not the captain; it's just the assistant captain here. Let's not be crazy.
But still, I think they would respect a guy like OEL, who's a good veteran player.
Maybe next season.
Yeah, I think in the off, like next year.
I agree.
And this is the first time PD's really dominated like this too, right? So just let him do it
for a whole season without the pressure.
Yeah, don't throw any extra pressure on him. Just let him do his thing. He's driving the bus on this line.
Yeah.
Like he's having an amazing season. Let's not do anything to let maybe potentially throw that off. So.
And I just want to mention this. I don't want to be a negative Nancy here, but since Tanner Pearson's been out of the lineup,
it has looked like a better squad. The speed is noticeable.
Yeah.
Like, no, they're not a fast team, but Pearson is really not a fast player.
No.
And he's just having a rough season. Like we said, like you never want to see somebody hurt, but it has been a bit of a blessing in disguise. And when he comes back, hopefully
Ship him out. Ship him out,
He's got no value, though.
Exactly.
You got to let him play.
Just find somebody. Arizona will take him. I know they will. Give us a third-round pick. I don't even care.
You're getting a third-round pick for Pearson. But I do agree with you. I think Pearson is not...
$3 million for what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
On the cap, we don't need him.
And it just seems like he is kind of the odd man out just because he doesn't really fit with the way any of the lines play now.
Look, since they've taken him off Bo's line, look at Bo.
Yeah, that's a fair point. You've said this for all year.
I'm beating a dead horse, like literally. It's crazy to me, but yeah, you give him some legit wingers. Look what Bo can do.
That is a fair point.
Yeah,
but yeah, it just kind of did things in a little bit of a weird order here, but just some
we're going on tangents.
Yeah, just a couple Canucks that really did deserve some recognition. Yeah. Luke Shen, we should always deserves recognition.
Yeah,
he's
beast.
Him and Kyle Burrows are so similar, right? Like it just they play solid games. It's like they never really make loud mistakes,
and they never get a ton of love. They just consistently come in.
I think Luke Shen is starting to get a lot of recognition.
He is, which is good. He deserves it, and he's playing with Quinn Hughes. It's kind of hard to look bad with Quinn, but I mean,
even with Quinn too, like I still feel like there's a couple other gears to his game. Like he's not playing bad.
No, but he's not playing 100%.
Yeah, it just doesn't. I feel like he's as dominant as he can be, which is scary because he's got 20 assists in like 18 games.
And that's the funny thing. Like, look at how well he's still played, and we still haven't given him Canuck of the Week. But I think it's because we both know there's another.
Yeah, it just feels like he's not. Yeah. He's not final form Quinn Hughes.
I feel that
too. Like to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully it's another good week of Canucks hockey. I would love to come back and tell you that the Canucks went 4-0 next weekend, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we need to put together a win streak here because, look at teams like New Jersey.
Yeah,
no one really
13
expected
in
them.
A row.
Exactly.
Or was it 13? 12?
It was close.
Something like that,
it's monstrosity, and no one expected them to be great. And look what they're doing. You know what I mean? So we need to put together, not that type of win streak, but even 7. Like last year we did 7. Let's get a quick 7 going.
Just a couple in a row, especially against Western Conference teams, right? Start getting winning those 4-point games. So
let's get to 500, and let's work from there.
Yeah. So that'll do it for this week's episode, unless you have anything else you want to go over.
Good.
If you liked what you saw, please subscribe to Canuckleheads Podcast on YouTube. You can find us on Apple, iTunes. Apple is iTunes. Spotify, anywhere there's podcasts.
Another one in the bag.